Hello all, welcome to Autobot YouTube channel. So today we are going to learn how you can remove duplicate rows or the duplicate values from the Excel sheet or from a data table. Okay, so there can be situations like you'll be getting some data in a Excel file and you'll have to manipulate that data for or you need to process that data to some form or to a database and all, right? So at that time, what we'll have to do, you'll have to first remove the duplicates and you will have to process that data, right? So we are going to learn how you can remove the duplicate rows if you are getting it like an Excel sheet. Okay, and in another example, like if you're scrapping some table from any of the web page, and if you want to do the processing for that data table, what you will have to do, you will have to remove the duplicate rows from that data table, right, which are scrapping from the web page or from any other source, right? So you'll have to remove the duplicate rows, and then only you need to process the data. Otherwise, what will happen? It will create a duplicate entry in your system, right? So that is an important thing that you need to learn, and we are going to see how what are the different ways for removing these duplicate values. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flow chart. Okay, I'm going to create a flow chart. So let me add a sequence inside this. Okay, so let me add a multiple sequence. Okay, so let it be here, let it be here, let it be here. Okay, and I'm going to name it like, what should be the name? Remove duplicate from Excel. Okay, so this is one thing, and here remove duplicate from data table. Okay, using activity. Okay, so this we are going to do with the activity, and this one also the same, like remove duplicates using link one, and here we are going to use another link query. Okay, so we are trying to understand that in a different method. Okay, so let us understand what is the first method. Okay, so this is for removing the duplicate from the Excel. Okay, so I'm going to make it as a start node. Let me open that. Okay, so for this demo I created a Excel sheet. Okay, so this is one sample Excel sheet. Okay, so in this particular Excel sheet you can see around 11 rows of data is there. Okay, so starting from 2 to 12, 11 rows of data is there, and here this row number 2 as well as the row number 12 is same, right? You can find the same data, Alex James, IT lead, even the ID is same, gender, and the country is also same like that. Bob Martin also a duplicate entry, right? So here what we're going to do is we're going to read this Excel, and directly we are going to remove these duplicates, and it will get add to the same Excel sheet. Okay, in the sheet one itself. So we are going to see how we can remove the duplicates from this particular sheet to one Excel sheet. For that we have to use Excel file. Okay, so these are the modern activities. Okay, so if you are not aware about these modern activities, just go to a playlist and try to understand what is this modern design, and we already did a video on this use Excel file and all. Okay, so please watch those videos to get more clarity on this. Okay, so we are using use Excel file. Then what we have to do, we need to read that particular sheet, right? So read that particular sheet. And here one more thing, let me search for duplicate and remove duplicates. Okay, so this is one new activity. So what we have to do is, let me drag and drop this particular activity, and here what will happen is, like, you don't need to use this read range and all. Okay, so if you directly give this remove duplicate X, okay, so this activity actually it supports for the Studio X version. Mainly it is developed for the Studio X version. Okay, that's why you can find this X at the end. And here what you have to do is you have to go to this plus symbol, Excel, and here you need to choose the sheet number. Okay, and it will ask for the column to compare. Okay, so if you need to delete few rows based on this column name. Okay, column name, if you want to select only one particular column name, you can choose that, or if you want to delete based on all this column or column names, you can choose that as well. Okay, so just click here, Excel, and what is the column name? I am just choosing column employee name. Okay, if you want to add multiple columns, you can just select this. Okay, and you can choose a different column. I'm choosing designation as well. Let me execute this script. Okay, so let me execute this and we'll see what is going to happen. Okay, it's because the file is already open, right? That's why it thrown that error. So I closed it. Let me execute it again. Okay, it opened. It removed all the duplicate values and it write to the same Excel sheet, right? Input. Okay, so here you can see earlier there were 12 rows and now it's a 10. So it removed the Alex James row from here and Bob Martin duplicate row. Okay, so I hope that is clear. And let me do one thing. Let me copy paste the same value. Okay, and here let me change this name, IT manager, and let me change this value to 777. Okay, so let's see what is going to happen if you try to remove the duplicates now. Okay, only by providing the employee name. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, I'm just deleting this particular designation column and let me execute that. Okay, it will open up the Excel sheet. Okay, it removed the last entry which we entered because it is just picking up only the employee name. Okay, so here you can see we copied the 11th row as Alex James, then IT manager, and we provided some other ID, then mail and USA, right? And it got deleted because we provided only the employee name to compare. Okay, so while it comparing, the name was same, so it removed the last value. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So while you are doing this removal, you have to make sure you are properly choosing all the rows. Okay, you have to choose all the rows, otherwise it can cause some wrong duplicate removal. Okay, so you have to properly give all the column values if all the values are changing. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So this is one method. So let us understand the next method. Okay, so removing duplicate from DT. Okay, so let me do one thing. Put it as the start node. Let me open this. Okay, so for here also what we have to do, we need to use Excel. Use Excel. What is Excel name? We have to give our input Excel. Okay, and here what I'm going to do is like in sheet 2, sorry, in sheet 3 I copied the same data. Okay, like the duplicate rows like Alex James, then Bob Martin. So these two values are having duplicate rows, right? So I'm going to use this sheet 3 as the input here. Okay, so use Excel is done and we need to get the data table, right? So I'm going to use read range activity. Okay, so here like this is for data table. Okay, so here the input maybe you may be receiving it from a different data sources. It can be from a database or it can be from a web page. While doing the data scraping, you may be getting the data table. Okay, but here for a sample, I'm just reading the Excel sheet and getting a data table. Okay, so that's it. Excel, and I'm going to use a sheet 3, and where I need to save, let me put it like DT1. Okay, so that is the data table that we created, and here you can see it is a data table variable. Okay, now what we have to do, we need to remove the rows from duplicate rows from the DT1, right? So for that, let me search for duplicate, and here you can see remove duplicate rows. Okay, so drag and drop that, and here you have to provide DT1, that is a data table, and here you need to provide the new data table value, DT final. Okay, so that's it. And what I'm going to do is, let me write this to an Excel sheet. Right, okay, write a data table to Excel, and what to write, DT final, and where I need to write choose output 1. Okay, that's it. Let me save this one. Okay, so what will happen is, like, it will remove the duplicate rows from here and it will write to output 1. Okay, so let me close this, save, let's execute. Okay, so now you can see the execution is completed. Let me open the Excel. So let's see what has happened. Okay, so earlier in this particular sheet 12 rows are there, and in this particular sheet only 10 is there. Okay, so it removed the Alex James duplicate and Bob Martin's duplicate, and it tried to this particular sheet output 1. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So let's move on, and we can create a new workflow. Okay, so I'm just putting it as start node, and let us understand, without using the default activity in UiPath, how we can do that using the query. Okay, for that we have to do the same. So let me do one thing. From this Excel sheet, let me copy this use Excel. Let me go back, just pasting it over here. Okay, we need to get the read range, that is fine. Instead of this remove duplicate, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use an assign activity. Okay, I'm going to use an assign activity, and here we need to give DT final, and here we need to give the query. Okay, so what should be the query? For that we need to use DT1. DT1 is the data that we got from the sheet 3, right? DT1 dot default view dot to table. Okay, default view dot to table, then we have to give the value like true. Okay, so it will remove all the duplicate values, duplicate rows from that particular data table, and it will copy that to DT final. Okay, so DT1 dot default view dot to table. Okay, to table, and inside the bracket we have to provide true. Okay, so that's it, and here we are writing it again to output 1. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me clear everything from here. Okay, just save it. I'm just closing this Excel. Let me re-execute this workflow again. Okay, so this time we are using a query. Okay, so we are using a link query for removing the duplicate rows. Okay, so the execution is completed. Let me open the input file. Okay, so it generated the same output, right? It removed the duplicate values and it tried to output 1. Okay, so these are the two methods. So we already seen two methods for removing the duplicate rows from data table. Okay, using the activity remove duplicate row from data table, and using the query. And here we have seen how to remove the duplicate value or duplicate rows from the Excel sheet, right? And now what we're going to do is like there can be situations like few of the columns is duplicate and few are not duplicate. Okay, so same like how we removed in this particular sheet. Okay, in this particular flow, like we choose the column name and based on that it removed the duplicates from the Excel, right? So same like that how we can do that for the data table. Okay, so one approach is like you can write that to an Excel sheet and you can use this activity which we used here, and you can read that again and you can use that data table. Okay, but it will be a lengthy process, right? But instead of that we can do that directly using a link query. So let's understand how to do that. Okay, so we need to use the same Excel activities. Okay, read range instead of a remove we don't need. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is let me use the assign activity. It should be dt final. Okay, it should be dt final, and this time I'm going to write the output to output of 2. Okay, let me write it to output 2. Okay, and what should be the expression? Okay, so the expression should be dt1 dot as enumerable. Okay, then open the bracket dot, we need to group it. Okay, group by, how we need to group? We need to group with a function. Okay, function of I. Okay, so we already did a similar kind of a function, not the similar kind but a link query in one of our video which we uploaded for the link query. Okay, so if you haven't watched that video, please refer that video to get more clarity on that. Okay, I dot field what should be the field? It should be of a string. Okay, should be of string. Then we are closing the bracket over here, that is correct. Then what should be the, we have to provide the column, right? What should be the column name? The column name should be, okay, so I'm going to read this particular sheet, right? So let me do one thing, let me change these values. IT manager. Okay, IT manager. Okay, let's go back. Let me open the editor. Okay, let's see now what should be the name, employee name, right? Employee name. Then we need to close the bracket. Okay, so we are closing that bracket, that is right. Then we need to do the selection, right? Dot select. From where we need to select, it should be function of okay, you can give it any name, it's okay. Okay, a dot first. Okay, data copy to data table. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so we are converting that to dt final and we are writing that to output 2. Okay, so let me close this file and let's execute. Okay, so it removed the duplicates and it created a new output to sheet. Okay, so here what happened, it removed the Alex James as well, because here we removed the duplicates only based on this employee name, right? And earlier what happened, like this Alex James, we provided the same duplicate values over here, right? So as it considered only this Alex James, it found another duplicate and it removed from the data table. Okay, but if you are going to remove it based on some designation and all, it will not get removed. Okay, because for that particular value we made that to IT manager and here we made that to IT lead. Okay, so these are the different ways of converting or removing the Excel from removing the duplicate rows from Excel and removing the duplicate rows from the data table. Okay, so I hope you find this video useful, because we discussed about 4 different methods. One for removing the duplicate rows from the Excel sheet and write to the same sheet, and 3 other methods for removing duplicate rows from data table, and 2 methods we used link query, and for one we directly use the activity which is there in the UiPath. Okay, so if you find this video useful, please like the video, please comment your valuable opinion, please share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. So thanks for watching the video. Bye.